Okay, here is Clementi's most famous Sonatina, Opus 36, number 1. Here's some tips to make you master it faster. Part of the challenges of this piece are both ascending and descending scales, mainly in the right hand. And I'm going to just show you some tricks about placing your arm in the correct places and feeling some rotational elements that will help you master this faster. The very first set of notes is actually just a C position chord in second inversion. So if I put my arm in that position where it's literally supporting all 3 fingers about midway through, you can't really see my arm, my thumb ends up on the edge. Notice how this would kind of make my arm collapse. Okay, so that part's easy. Now we have our first scale. When I play this scale, I'm going to play, instead of just, your normal hand finger tension there, I'm going to actually play the G and the C, and that's going to give me my position for my crossing. So again, this is very important. You have your hand playing G and C. Your arm, which I know you can't see mine, is really squarely behind those 2 notes, okay? They feel equally supported. I'm not leaning into either one. Then I cross over and I'm already in my position. Notice when I cross over, I'm not dipping the wrist. Again, I know you can't totally see all of that. Let's try a slightly different angle for that. So if we did this, you can kind of see that better. So I've got my C and G here, okay, and then I'm squarely behind that, and when I cross, my arm is not in any compromised position. It's really doing that cross with the arm and hand and finger that are all together. You see that? So, and my elbow comes out a little bit to accommodate that cross, and I'm rolling over my thumb, literally rolling over my thumb now. So many people do crosses like this, right? We're trying to prevent that. That's not a good place for your arm to be. So here we go. And because I'm on all white keys, this is a lot of out and in. So I'm coming out for the 4, the 3, 2, down. So you can practice that even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you've got, and there's your first crossing. Then you have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, always settling in on that thumb. Coming out and in is a very important part of playing scales on white keys. So that's a whole nother, we could spend a whole lot of time talking about that. But essentially what you want to feel when you're playing any key is your arm and finger to be completely connected, okay? And so that means the angle of your arm will not be straight to the key here. Alright? The other thing I have going on that I'm not talking about is I'm starting the scale with a sense of a roll, or we call it a single. Then we have doubles, which are essentially just feel like step, 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 okay? And then rolling to the thumb is another single. These are all singles because they're going in opposite directions. Single, and step, 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 step. So if I were you, I'd practice this. Roll, step, 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 step. And then I would practice this. Roll, step, 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 step. Roll. You can even just skip the quarter note just to get the flow, okay? And then you attach the 2 for your crossing. Again, the whole point of the 1 and the 5 together is to determine where you need to be for that crossing. When I go like this, my arm is fully intact with my wrist, my fingers. I'm not compromising it in any way. Okay. The next challenge is at measure 6 going to 7. It's not very hard if you just take these and block them. Okay, so these are just intervals of a third. Again, notice my arm tracking each interval. Notice how each finger is squarely supported with the arm. And then we have a scale coming. And it's very easy to connect these if you allow your arm to roll or do a single rotation between each note. And then I'm in place for my scale. Now, to get in place for the scale, you want to make sure that you're not in a twisted position. Notice when I play my thumb, my arm is supporting that, and these fingers can easily just go up and down. Okay, they're not trying to, do anything to get to their place. So it's very easy once you notice that. An ascending scale, we need to think about, here we are, well, we are going to end up here. That's a long ways away. Well, we're going to take each step by step to move our way up. So here we start with a roll. Roll. Make sure that thumb is shadowing the third finger as I come out. So roll, step, out, and now I'm in place, you see. So one thing you can check on your scales ascending is, here's my thumb, here's my pinky. This is my destination. My arm is completely supported. If I'm moving across, am I moving across enough that that cross feels completely supported? You see? It's a lot of movement right here. And then not so much here. Okay? You can practice this is kind of more in place. Not totally, but, and it's pretty easy to do because you got a little out, but not too much because you got that fourth finger there. Right. So, roll, step, step, step. Okay, now here you got roll. Okay, so practice it like that. You have it again here at measure 10. And just notice my arm. Right. And then at measure 11, there's a nice long arpeggio there. You're going to notice the first note, the top note, and from the top note you have a descending 5-note scale. It's really important to get your arm in place for that descending 5-note scale. If you do the arpeggio like this, you're not going to be in place to do that. So find that first. Okay, now you're going to go roll always, most of the time, to the thumb. Okay, not necessarily always. Okay, but you're going to roll with that hand. You're stepping across. Notice how my thumb is with me. Okay, I'm roll, step across. I check here. Is my arm supporting that second finger? Are all these other fingers released? Are they lifting and dropping together? Are they lifting and dropping together? Now I'm in place to play. Okay, so then it looks like this. Now I have another cross. All singles. And then I have a 5-note slur here, or a 4-note. And this is just in place. Up and down. And then we have a out and down. Out and down. So I'll play the whole A section for you in the right hand. A lot of this classical stuff is a huge workout for the right hand. Left hand doesn't really have a lot going on. At measure 4, it's got this little, right? Important that you roll, step, 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 step. And as you step to the 3, you're coming higher with your elbow. As you step back to the 5, you're coming back to level. This is level. These are a little bit higher. The thing that's challenging about the left hand, I think, here is at measure 6, you have this little octave leave, okay? So I practice that like I know where this is. I know where my arm is here. It's supporting those octave, you know you can do a seventh. Even that's a bit of a reach for me, okay? I know you can't really see my left hand. So, okay. All right, so that's the first page a little bit. And then, get that a little bit higher. There you can see. No, you can't, actually. Okay. The left hand has some Alberti bass. You'll be able to see me do that, though. Okay. So the Alberti bass is easy if you understand single rotation and you see Alberti bass as a chord. So at measure 9, I am playing this like a second inversion 5 chord. Okay. Every time I do this, my thumb is going with me. I'm not gripping the thumb in place. And that allows my hand to turn easily. I'm not really going anywhere. And then here too, nice little 5/7 chord there. Make sure all fingers lift and drop together. And then the arpeggio at the end. This is coming up and down. So think of these two as one level. Think of this as another level. Make sure when you roll, everybody goes with you. Step, step, roll into place. Roll, step, step, step. All right, a lot of students have a problem with measure 20 on those Alberti octaves. And I'm going to tell you what the most difficult thing is getting your arm in place for the octave. This might look totally normal, but it's a twist. And again, we have to be careful about calling things a twist. Some things can look twisted but are not. The main thing about any kind of interval is you want your arm and hand to feel like it's equally, arm is behind both fingers, equally supporting the fingers, and your hand feels like it's just putting it down like this. So if I do that on the octave, you can see my pinky is a little bit further in the key, right? What you can't see is my thumb, but I'm going to show you it's right about here. Okay, my thumb is not on the edge. And then if you can't find that, go a little bit higher and find it and just feel the whole arm putting it. Now it's important with an octave, I didn't say this, but your octave has to be dissecting that. Your elbow has to be dissecting that octave, completely dissecting it. You can't have it here, and you can't have it here. It's got to be right in the middle. So then once I get that, I just, again, let that thumb be free. This is all in one place. Whoops. It's not hard. A little shaping. All right, and then the left hand has a little, and that repeats. You have a C major scale going all the way up at measure 31. Very important to have a good position on your start of the C major scale. Notice, not this. Okay, so my arm is completely supporting that one. And these can do this, right? Now notice how they're inside, so they cannot play there. You're going to get a little blues. You don't want blues in classical music. Roll, come out. And as I come out, I'm going higher with my elbow to accommodate that longer finger. My thumb is still shadowing my second finger. Now it's shadowing my third finger. The reason that's important is because when it gets here, it's ready to go. And same here. Roll, step, step, step. When you're stepping, all fingers lift and drop together. Well, they always do. Lift and drop together. Lift and drop together. Don't hold the remaining fingers on the opposite side of the hand where they already were. You'll see a lot of people do this, and it looks like they're doing it, but you see how my fingers are holding in place? We always want them to have their natural shape, just like you were born with, okay? And then at measure 33, we have that again. It's just another version of a C major scale. And then we have another arpeggio to find your destination here, which is right there. Roll, step across, and here we have a nice extended scale. So you're going to come out to the 3, 4. Okay, so again, on descending scales, if you want to practice this, you play the first note of the scale and the thumb. Make sure your hand is really supporting that. That gives me the perfect place for my crossing. And single rotations all the way to the end in the left hand. How's that? I hope this helps with some of this passage work. It's not easy, but it's great work for developing your technique.